Yo, what's up, y'all? Today we'll be watching. Well, no, not today. The let's say yesterday. Today we'll be watching the David is sicker than we thought. I originally made an opening for it, and it didn't record the audio, and I didn't realize until a day later. So just gotta work with it. Gotta keep going. But yeah, I don't remember how I said that opening, but let's just get into it.
Preliminary hearing documents for the David case. And
Okay, real quick, let me also mention, isn't it kind of crazy, if you already know about the situation, that nobody like questioned bro about him having like a 15-year-old like just chilling in his house? Like I find that like so puzzling that so many people like there had to be more people that knew that, right? Like let's just get into the video and we'll just see.
we already are starting off with some conflicting statements from what the prosecution is saying happened and from what a private investigator is saying happened. So, first, we're going to start off with the background facts and what the prosecution was saying. And they said that the dismembered body of
Oh my god,
14-year-old
that's bright.
Celeste was discovered in front trunk
Oh well, I mean he's saying it. I was about to read it, but
of the Tesla on September 8th. That's when the body was discovered. The vehicle had been towed 3 days prior, and this was parked 400 feet from the defendant. The defendant is David Burke at 1368 Hollywood Hills. Surveillance.
okay, hold on. Let me read this. So okay, so she was 14, not 15. Okay, my bad. But like, it's just crazy, like how bad this like got. Because in the beginning, I remember everyone was like, David, a murder case? Nah, it couldn't be. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real quick. I was rage baiting. I was playing with my a few of my fellas, saying like, nah, he innocent. Like I was trying to be like a lawyer, like Phoenix Wright or like some Better Call Saul, but that's because we didn't think like it was an actual. We didn't think how bad the situation was because the evidence wasn't out yet. And then when the evidence came out, and then it got worse and worse, I'm gonna be real. I apologize. There's no way I can even. I couldn't rage bait after that. Like there's nothing I could do. Like I couldn't even try to like make a skit like just to like talk like because it just got so crazy. And we're just like it went from nah he didn't do it to oh no he definitely did it. Like he did it. He
Video
did
and
it.
other evidence confirmed defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29, 2025 before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. So on July 29th, they're saying that David was the one driving the car. Now, Steve Fisher, this guy that's
Oh,
been
I
doing
didn't
a
know that.
lot of investigative work on this case, he disagrees. And he says now that the prosecution has released a briefing for the preliminary hearing in the David case, we are releasing the surveillance footage of the Tesla being moved on July 29th. The driver is lighter skinned with long hair wearing a red jersey.
Okay, so if if I had to guess, if this isn't him, I don't know how they're able to see lighter skin and a red jersey. I see the image I'm looking at. I don't know if I'm looking at the same image everybody else is looking at, but I can't see his skin. Um, I will say though, because he did have a friend that had got arrested for this same like in suspicion. If this truly isn't David, I do think that that's who it was. Or I think to be fair, I also think it could be nah. I was gonna say something else, but no. I think it. I think his friend. I think he has somebody else involved. I don't think he did it by himself. But I think there's at least people that I think knew about Celeste. But hey, I mean we'll just
And it
let it
shows
let
this
it play.
video clip,
Oh, it
which
actually
is
played
the
a.
Tesla. It looks like it. And then he freeze
Hold
frames
on, is
it.
he gonna go back?
And you can see some red.
Okay,
And
hold on,
people are
hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me see if I can do it.
Jersey. And it shows this video clip, which is the Tesla.
Man, that's black. Oh wait. My camera in the way. My fault. Hold on. Let me rescale it. Okay. Now maybe I'm colorblind. but that's black. I don't see anything in
That's what
there.
it looks like it. And then he
I,
freeze frames it, and you can see some red. And people are suggesting that this is Neo the Asian, the guy that was
that guy.
very close friends with David, but also the guy that was arrested briefly a couple of months ago and then released. And he was arrested. I don't even think he was charged with anything. So that was
talking about. This is, I don't know. Like, now, to be fair, I think David did it. But what's crazy to me is this dude he has this mugshot, and bro is smiling. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't do that because I don't want to look like let's say if I ever got arrested, I'm not going to, but if I ever been in that situation where I had to take a mugshot, I would do the same. But in this case, this makes this person look kind of little psychotic.
Odd. And people are pulling up the fact that this guy was wearing a red jersey on an Instagram post that he released on July 28th. So that one was, well, actually, no, the photo was taken by somebody that posted it on July 28th by this. And then also David would respond to this, talking about now this is aura. This is crazy because this was months after this guy caught a body. Now, sometimes editing photos takes a day or two. Are they going to post it right away? I don't know. But one of the odd things is that this isn't conclusive enough, man. Like, you don't even see the skin color of the individual. The window is turned down, and it could just...
Yeah, now, I do agree with this. That you can't see. Like, there's no way that this can be used as evidence. Even if the private investigator posted he thinks it wasn't. I mean, we can't tell. Like, you can't tell off of this, and this isn't
artifacts.
Oh, my bad. This isn't like solid proof, so you really don't know.
In something that is this low resolution, but
see, look. Okay. My mouse isn't being shown, but like the only way I can see the red, and maybe by the steering wheel over here on the left, maybe like just maybe it is. Hold on. There we go. So like right here, maybe this is the hand and maybe it's lighter skin. But then again, at the same time, David's not that dark. So maybe it could just be him as well. And then I think this is the hair right here, which I think kind of is more David than the other guy. But I could be wrong. And I don't even think it's a jersey because it's red right here as well. So it could be a hoodie.
Hey,
but
we already got some
I could be wrong
there. So it says the manager of the tow yard smelled decay and flies coming from the vehicle. So he called the LAPD. LAPD showed up. And here it says LAPD robbery homicide detectives determined the victim and defendant met in January 2022 when she was 11 years old.
11? Okay. Now, I didn't know that. I have been keeping up with the case, but I didn't know he knew her like for that long. Yeah, he did it. He did it.
And then they began engaging in a sexual relationship in 2023. So it was about a year and a half. The victim was 13 and defendant was 18. So this was, they likely met.
Okay, so 13. So I graduated at 17, but I was the youngest and I was a senior. Bro, hold on. So you were in high school. Messing with the eighth, bro. Yeah, lock him up, bro. Actually, I don't even know if you can lock him up at that point. Like, I wouldn't say the death penalty, but you got to go through like some, what's it called? Some medieval torture. I think that's about fitting.
18. So this was, they likely met before David even showed up to LA. And then detectives learned the victim had been reported missing by her family in February and April 2024. So between November 2023 and February of 2024, she was not reported missing. So presumably she was with her family then. So that's 5 months later. And then they also, the first time they met was, or the first time they engaged in sexual activity was November of 2023. And here it says that they identified a phone number in the victim's phone records that belonged to him, and that is David. During the call, defendant David claimed he had spoken to the victim last on February 13th or 14th, 2024. That is Valentine's Day. Yep. But
You're stupid.
Dude, you can't be messing up this much, bro. Like you can't, like, or you can, but bro, he was just dumb. I mean, I'm not saying like that's not a good thing. It's a good thing he was dumb, where this wouldn't have been like, it wouldn't have came out. But bro, also, now this is just me, but I think the parents had something to do with it. I think a lot of people knew. And I feel like the parents are being like overlooked in this case because it's their child that is, passed away. But at the same time, it's like let's give them their time, but we gotta spin back and ask them a bunch of questions because there's something's not adding up.
Stated he was unaware she was a minor or that she had been reported missing. RCSD advised him that Los Angeles Sheriff's Department would be coming to his home. On that day, defendant was living at address in West Hollywood and requested that the LASD conduct a welfare check at the defendant's home. So LA deputies went to the defendant's home that night at 8:15 and informed him the victim was a 13-year-old runaway. David again claimed he was unaware she was a minor and he had only met the victim once in person in November of 2023. However, David showed deputies a yearbook photo of the victim he had on his cell phone. A yearbook photo. What is that, 8th grade? The girl didn't even graduate 8th grade. So if she had a yearbook, it had to be from the 5th grade. So,
oh, that's even worse.
This guy, this continuously gets worse because he met her online when she was 11. So the only yearbook photo she had at that point is the 5th grade yearbook. So this guy's got a 5th grade yearbook photo of her on his phone. I don't care if he was 17 or he's underage. 17 and 5th grade?
Oh, that's crazy.
Psychotic. Although he claimed to be unaware of where the victim was at the time, she returned home 2 days later. And this is somewhat believable because they seemingly had a quote-unquote toxic relationship, if you even want to call it that. Despite being informed by law enforcement the victim was only 13, defendant continued to pursue her. So here they're painting the story. They're saying, hey, look, these guys came to his house. They told him, hey, look, this girl's missing. This is who the girl is. They know that he had a photo of her. He knows that the police are aware of this situation. And he continues to chase this girl. So this guy had the opportunity. And this is what I said earlier. I was like, man, I thought he just knew ahead of, he had so many different opportunities, which is him blowing up, him meeting her in person. If there were just messages, his lawyers would be able to handle the situation. Even if it was like, oh, he's 18 and he's talking to a 13-year-old, they would figure out some way to make sure that his music career continued. Or at the very least, that's some way to make sure that his music career continued, whether they suppressed it, all that stuff. But it got
crazy because another thing, I feel like if it would have came out like, yo, bro was messing with a 13-year-old as an 18-year-old, yeah, that would have been bad. But not as bad as, on her. Like, bro, like you just threw away your life at that point. Before, like, okay, you could have been like, okay, your career could have been in shambles for a little bit, but you could have made something work. Cause I mean, like for instance, like think about R. Kelly. That's a horrible one. But the thing is, same kind of thing, but people would still listen to his music. I'm saying, like, bro could he could have definitely avoided the whole big case that he's in now if he just simply, didn't like her, like, bro.
To a point where police showed up and he still thought to himself, yeah, you know what, let me stay involved with this chick, which just goes to show that he is twisted. So after the victim returned home in February, her parents took her cell phone away. And then David drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student. That's the video clip that we saw that we've been seeing for the past 6 months in the victim's class $1,000 to give the victim a cell phone defendant purchased so they could stay in contact.
In all seriousness, or no, take away the seriousness real quick. I know that kid was happy. You're telling me you're about to give me $1,000, 1,000 beans to deliver a phone? That's I'm gonna be real, easiest bag achieved. And you're in school? Oh yeah, bro, that's a flex. That's a flex. You're broke in school, and you just got $1,000 sat in your lap to deliver a phone. Yeah, bro was happy. He ain't asked no questions. She said 1,000, hand it. I'm out. I'm on my mission.
Dog, if this isn't grooming, I don't know what is. The chick makes it back home. The little girl
bad, though.
makes it back home. They take away her phone. The parents take away her phone. The parents are trying to do their job. And then this guy finds, because what we initially thought was that people were blackmailing David and say, yo, we're going to expose this. You better pay us. But they're saying here that he paid the kids $1,000 to give her a cell phone so that he could continue talking to her.
Oh, no, I didn't even
So he's telling
that.
the kids,
he's stupid.
And at this point, if you're
Why
the
would you do
kids,
that?
you know that
Bro's
he's still
doubling
talking
down.
to her. So you got another set of witnesses that you're adding into this crime that you're continuing to engage in. Throughout 2024, the victim spent a significant amount of time with David, including summer weekends at his home in the hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family. Now, I'll tell you something that doesn't...
Wait. Time out. She met his family? Yeah. Everybody knew.
Happen frequently. Managers, people on an artist team, the artist is not traveling alone, especially on flights.
Oh,
and you're going to tell me that they didn't know? Summer weekends,
Yeah,
the most lit
no.
in the hills,
That's stupid.
where parties are being thrown constantly. And you're telling me that, oh man, no, just nobody knew? Come on, dog. Let's be real here. Text exchanges between the victim and defendant contain references to sex, pregnancy, abortion, and the use of Plan B emergency contraceptive. There are also explicit photographs documenting and corroborating their sexual relationship. So this guy's...
Oh. You know what? I'm not gonna say nothing about that. That's just bad. That's all I'm gonna say. That's bad.
They're sending photos back and forth. Who knows if he's recording the activity? So this just gets more and more depraved. Keep in mind, police showed up to this guy's place. Authorities showed up to this guy's place when
crazy.
All he had was a yearbook photo. And they were like, yo, we're looking for this chick. She's missing. So at this point, anybody with a brain, even somebody that is a PDF, right? They're like, okay, I gotta get the hell out of this situation. Just logically thinking, self-preservation type of situation. But this guy didn't do that. And you've got Plan B emergency contraceptive. So this guy's allegedly going raw in this little girl.
Yo.
Just no care in the world for any type of consequence. Not even for himself. Like, yeah, we get it. He has clearly no care in the world for her well-being. Or at least maybe in some twisted way he does. But objectively speaking, he doesn't care about her well-being. But even his own well-being and his reputation, he doesn't care about either with how reckless he's moving. In November of 2024, David and the victim broke up. Although they continued to communicate, and text messages suggest they also continue to have sexual relations. Jesus. April 23rd, 2025 is the likely date of the victim's death and when all her cellular activity ceased. And we're presumably saying, is this still the same cell phone that he bought for her, or is this another cell phone? The night prior, April 22nd, defendant and the victim engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. The messages revealed the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationships with other women. So they're saying David had other chicks. Now, are these chicks of age?
So, hold on. Okay, actually, wait, he's about to say something.
That's what we really should be asking. As defendant led...
Okay, never mind. So, you're messing with other women, and and apparently that's not enough. So you're messing with a minor, and that's still not enough. Bro, what are we doing? And I heard something about like a second victim, but I wasn't sure if that was true. So I didn't hear anything else about it, so I don't know.
Her to believe they had a future together. So he was selling an 11-year-old a dream.
Oh, he was doing the
She
Passport
hasn't
Bro.
even gotten through all the Disney movies to have the Disney
I don't know if
image
I'm
and the
thinking the right
Disney
thing.
prince in her mind yet. And this guy's selling her dreams.
Or like
Criminal.
the sugar daddy. Yeah, that's.
She became extremely
Nah,
upset
there's something else I'm
and
thinking about.
threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with David to end his career and destroy his life. Defendant's first studio album was set to be released April 25th, so a couple days later. And this makes sense. 13-year-old girl, and she's like, oh, well, she feels like she got wronged. She's going to say, you know what? Screw you. Vengeance is coming. He had an emerging multi-million-dollar career already in progress. He already had multi-million dollars. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. At approximately 8:40, defendant, so David sent an Uber to transport the victim from her Lake Elsinore home to his residence. So I'm guessing if they were able to get the records, they would have Uber records with David's credit card or his name, picking her up and dropping her off at his address because she's 11, 12 years old. I'm pretty sure she can't even have an Uber account unless it's her parents, and her parents weren't going to at 8:40 p.m. They're not going to let her go out, and she was home at this time. They communicated before and during her Uber ride, which dropped her off at his home around 10:10 p.m. At approximately 10:30 p.m., defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated plan to cover up the murder as she was already dead by this time. This is a very interesting assertion. So 20 minutes later, so that means right when she got there, this guy just took the knife and just stabbed her. And they're saying the places that he stabbed her, she died a very, very painful death. So it makes sense that if he's thinking like, yo, where are you at? You didn't show up to my place.
Actually, was that the
So it
body? Where's the stab? I'm guessing the stabs are right here, but then it doesn't have. Okay, so yeah, this is probably the stab wounds. Oh, this is when she was cut up. Yeah, okay, so this is the cut up. This is the stab. So what is that like? Right here and then here. Ugh. I don't know what that would feel like, but I don't want to. Yeah. Oh, I actually never really fully looked at this, so I can't really tell what any of this says. It's a little too small, but
makes sense that if he's
it's
thinking like,
bad.
yo, where are you at? You didn't show up to my place. A brilliant idea, by the way. It's so
yeah, like
comical.
that's
how
the first thing
somebody
cops are gonna
this
look
young,
at is how recently you
not
last
her,
texted when they went
him,
missing.
thinks like, okay, hold on, I'm gonna pull one over on the dozens of people that are detectives that are going to be investigating this. Like, you're a
Also, that doesn't even make sense because if you text her where you at, but you already like magic tricked her and she's now gone. How did the body end up in your car? It's not like somebody randomly she stepped out the car and it was like, oh yeah, it's your unlucky day, and then just killed her and then cut her up and then put her in your car. That doesn't make sense.
goofy if you think you're gonna pull something off like
Perfect
this
word, goofy.
on people that are smarter
Goofy.
than you and that have studied hundreds of murders. Knowing he had to silence the victim before she ruined his music career, as she had threatened, very soon after her arrival at his home, defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out.
Oh,
At no
okay.
time did he call law enforcement or take her to an emergency room to attempt to save her life. Despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. In fact, so this is her own family was trying to find where she was. Defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, which is the same night, He drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone, asking where she was. So again, an hour later, he's trying to, quote unquote, figure out where she was. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder. Now, if they don't have DNA evidence of anything here, his defense is probably going to try to go for the angle of, no, he sent her the Uber. Maybe she got into an argument with him via text and she showed up and didn't want to show up at his house. So she went down the block or something like that and someone else killed her.
What? That's what I'm saying. But that doesn't make sense. How did it end up in the car if somebody else killed her? How did it end up in your car?
Someone else is randomly going to kill a young girl like that in that neighborhood. That's unlikely. If it was a grown man, yeah, he's likely to get robbed for something because people know that people got bread in the Hollywood Hills, but it would be a shooting. Okay. It wouldn't be a stabbing. And they would have something that could be taken from them, like expensive jewelry. She didn't have that. The defendants drove his Tesla north to San Marcos Pass Road. He returned home early the following morning on April 24, 2025, this is crazy. So this guy goes to a radio interview that same day. This is probably why the managers didn't really pay attention to what he was doing or tried to look the other way, because this guy was going to show up to the things that he had to show up to for his career. Most artists, they'll show up late if they were a little sick, if they smoked a little bit too much. This guy caught a body and he's trying to cover it up, and he's still showing up to this stuff. Like, insanity. And then it says
the fact that bro like magic tricked somebody and then went on an interview after that's crazy.
He sent 2 additional texts to the victim's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered. And then after April 26th, he never attempted to contact her again, which does come across a bit weird because if you never saw her and she never showed up, wouldn't you be very, very concerned? And you would constantly be hitting her up and trying to get back into contact with her instead of never trying to hit up that phone again? Tellingly, defendant subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24th, which is the day after the killing, he ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. So this guy...
You can't be this dumb. Bro, who orders a shovel off Post? I didn't even know you could do that. Bro, if you do anything like this and you order something off of Postmates or DoorDash, Uber Eats, and you're getting a shovel delivered to you as your driver, I'm calling 911 before I make that delivery. Because why? It's specifically because of the area he's in. It's already suspicious. You're not digging anywhere. There's nowhere you can really dig besides your backyard.
Postmated a shovel.
Never mind.
To his address. He didn't Postmate it to his address, some other random address and then just go pick it up there and walk it to his crib. No, he Postmated it to his address. Brilliant. But it's like, yo, come on. It's a shovel. Everybody needs a shovel, right? Okay. On May 1st, so he thought to space it out too. So this is already 8 days that the body's been decaying. On May 1st, and where has he had the body for 8 days? So 8 days, people are coming in and out of this house, and they haven't noticed a body or smelt a body. On May 1st, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws to his home. 4 days later, defendant ordered and Amazon delivered a body bag, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. And he made these purchases under the fake name Victoria Mendez. So right now, we're in a 2-week span. This guy's getting chainsaws. Nobody's wondering, yo, what's the chainsaws for? What is he telling them? Oh, it's for a music video? I mean, that would be kind of believable, to be fair. But he's ordering these to his address, to his home address where he's staying, which is just goofy. On May 8th, he returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home around 11:30. So I'm guessing that's where he probably put the body, near Santa Barbara County. He returned to the area again on May 31st. So this is a month, well over a month after she died. This is an isolated site off of SR 154 where the victim's identification was subsequently discovered in January of 2026. Additionally, on July, so January is after that they found the body initially from the Tesla, because the Tesla was in September of 2025. Additionally, on July 7, 2025, he ordered and Amazon delivered a burn cage to his home under the same fake name as part of his plan to incinerate evidence. July 7th.
Now you want to do a fake name.
Months after. This is over 2 months after he allegedly killed her. He's ordering a burn cage. So where is he storing all of this? Is he putting the stuff in a freezer?
I would have just thought his garage.
Defendant took horrifying measures to destroy and discard the victim's body. After placing her body into the blue inflatable pool, so this guy inflates a pool to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor. Well, he already stabbed her. So where's the blood going? Yeah, he was probably scrubbing it with that weird TikTok that he made.
If you're putting it in a pool, and then if you're cutting her up with a chainsaw, wouldn't the blood just go everywhere? You know, maybe let Detective RCU get in this case.
Defendant used a chainsaw and perhaps other tools to cut off her limbs. Small blue plastic fragments were found embedded in the victim's remains, which were collected by the medical examiner. The fragments were analyzed by LAPD Forensic Science Department, and he was able to make a physical fit match from the blue fragments to the blue inflatable pool purchased by him on May 2025. So this guy might be beyond cooked. In order to distance himself from the victim, he amputated her left ring and pinky fingers because her ring finger contained a tattoo of his name. If you guys recall, they had matching tattoos that said "shh," which is just harrowing. And then one of the finger tattoos said David on it. And that's why he cut off the finger. Which, why would you even think to? There were already photos of her with the David tattoo on her finger online. And if they find her body, what is he holding onto the fingers for? Like initially, when I first found out about this, I was like, yo, is this some weird sicko like murder fetish where you have to keep something from the victim? But it makes sense that he would remove evidence. But if they find it, they're just going to discover who she is, what her identity is, and then find all the information online anyway. You brought all this online. The photos are online. We've seen them. Anyway, her fingers have not been recovered, so we don't even know where those are. Defendant then placed her head and torso into the cadaver bag he purchased. He placed her limbs into a garbage bag, which he deposited into his front trunk, laying the cadaver bag on top. For weeks or months, he left the body to decompose inside his Tesla. This is what's so weird about this dude. Like 2 months, I'm guessing he's like trying to cover up this murder whilst doing a rollout for an album. Because he's in different cities. This is happening over the span of 2.5 months.
Which is crazy. I remember that album.
Stuff over the span of 10 days. And he's ordering it to his home address. And then once he cuts the body up, he throws it in the trunk of his Tesla. So they're saying that this guy was goofy enough to do all of this on a Tesla. So it says he lied to friends, business associates, and others who noticed a strong smell of decay in and around his home and vehicle. This is the weird part. So people are noticing that, yo, what's this smell, dog? And what is the lie that he's going to tell? Because the first thing that I would think is like, yo, this smells weird.
It's my neighbor's dog. He came in and took a massive deuce in my yard. His yard's freshly cut grass. There's nothing in his yard.
This guy, what happened to the girl? Because my assumption and my opinion is that they knew that the chick was nowhere near David's age range. And in that regard, I'm thinking if I'm anywhere close to David, even if I'm an acquaintance, like I know somebody that knows him, I'm just getting the hell out of there. I'm like, yo, I'm not being around this. I don't even want to know what's going on. And I think that's what happened with a lot of people. But the problem is if you're really close to him and you knew this was going on and you're smelling it now and you're like, yo, what's that smell in your car? You've got to get rid of that. What is he going to lie about? Oh, no, it's just some eggs in there. Okay, let's clean it out.
That's horrible.
You got to do something about it. I'm not saying that they should automatically assume it's a body because that's a lot to ask. Or that's just a lot to jump to. You got to think they see the guy as normal. They're like, nah, no way he's capable of doing that. So they're not going to assume it's a body. But you got to get rid of the smell somehow or look into it. But before leaving the concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home. So still, the body hasn't been disposed of. And it's continuing to stink up. So people already smelt it, and it's only going to get worse in the summer. So LAPD served the warrant on September 17th. And inside the garage, they discovered evidence consistent with the dismemberment of the body, which contained multiple linear cuts. Several biological samples, which tested positive for blood, were collected within the garage. So he thought, let me do it in the pool so the blood doesn't show up there. Well, they found blood in the garage anyway. Like I said, he stabbed her outside. DNA analysis determined that various samples matched the unique genetic profile. And on December 9th, the medical examiner ruled it a homicide. And on January 17th, her passport card was found by a Caltrans worker off SR 154. So I'm guessing that her passport card had fell out when he was driving her body up one of these times
be any more
to
like
that Santa Barbara County.
Yeah,
or
they
when
got,
he was,
they got
yeah, I'm guessing he left the body there a couple of times and then came back. And then they just give a bunch of evidence. Now they talk about the evidence that they have. One of the really interesting pieces of evidence is the description of photographs depicting the victim naked. So there's photos of the victim naked, as well as while she was engaged with defendant in activity when she was 13. So this guy's got CP on the phone too. Keep in mind, once again, the police visited him before he ever had CP that we know of, that he had CP before.
Also, if you don't know what the term CP stands for, it's child.
That any of this happened. And he had the opportunity to pull out of this. They need to give this guy worse than the electric chair. They need to give him one of those old torture methods.
The term CSAM.
As this evidence constitutes CSAM, which is child SAM, the photographs themselves will not be presented. While all possible charges that could be proven were not filed, the CSAM is proof of their ongoing relationship while the victim was 13 and 14. Numerous text messages between the defendant and victim evidencing their relationship, pregnancy, abortion, and use of Plan B. And one of the messages that they said was, all we do is have sex and just hang out. Man, I want more than that for myself. And those were obtained from David's iCloud. And this is kind of weird because it's like, all they're doing is engaging in that activity and hanging out. Like, what does hanging out constitute? Does she want him to take her out on like a public, like this guy was taking her on tour? Like, what is it?
Actually, yeah, what that confuses me. So you're besides the sexual part, hanging out. I do remember seeing a video of her being on tour with bro. I'm confused. What does that entail? I'm confused. What more did you? I feel like that, like hanging out is pretty much a lot of things that like normal people do. Like you got your girl or your boy, and y'all just hanging out. I feel like that's what you classify that as. I'm confused.
I'm not trying to say like what more did she want?
Yeah.
I really don't get that. That's like very vague. I think they could have given us a little bit more text. What is it exactly that she wanted?
Hang out like we just at the house
clearly
chilling,
this could never be public. But maybe she didn't know that. And it was as public as you can get. Anyway, defendant's cellular activity and communications derived from the iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate the activity from April 22nd to 24th, including a trip to Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night after the victim arrived at his Hollywood Hills home. So they've got surveillance video of, and they're saying again that this is David driving the Tesla on July 29th. And then DNA evidence from blood stains collected from his garage, which match hers. And then Amazon purchases and deliveries to his home. And this is probably if they arrested that Neo guy, he was probably telling them this. He's like, yeah, I saw those packages. Those weren't in my name. I think that's what they wanted to know because that guy Neo seemed like he lived with him, which he had to do some ratting. If you're living when this is going on, you got to be telling because you know everything that happened. So maybe not the murder, which I highly doubt, but you know what was going on between them two.
Okay, bro.
And then Uber records show.
Hold on. You didn't know this was happening. Then you're living with bro. Allegedly, I don't know, but if you're living with bro, you didn't know any of this happened. Yeah,
the transaction, like I said earlier, where he ordered the Uber to pick up the victim from her Elsinore home and drive him to his place. And then, of course, they're just talking about the proof of his earnings But this is just to show that, oh, hey, the motive is that he wanted to protect his career, and that's why he killed her. And then text message exchanges on April 22nd and 23rd, where she threatened to expose him and destroy his career. And this is just the beginning. When they start showing this evidence, it's about to be ridiculous. Like, we saw photos here too, and we got photos of the packages that were being delivered to his home under the name Victoria Mendez. It's like, dude, who is Victoria Mendez? It's just some random name that's just gonna send it to your address. This guy is twisted, depraved. You see some moments where you think like, okay, this guy's cunning, and then you're like, no, he's not even cunning. He's an idiot.
No, yeah,
it's almost like somebody that grew up on TikTok watching like murder mysteries, and he's like, okay, this is how I get away.
So what happens when a Death Note fan takes the anime too seriously? Nothing against Death Note. I like Death Note, but just saying.
With it, but we're gonna stay plugged into this as much as we can.
That was a crazy story.
Like I said, this is this generation's OJ. He's worse than OJ by all.
Okay. Yeah, that is okay, so from this point of the video, the audio was not captured because I forgot to change the OBS settings to record audio on this specific window. So yeah, it was just a crazy situation going on. Like, it's really unbelievable. But I will be putting the original video in the description, and like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Hey, let's run it up. Let's get started. All right, I'll see y'all.